Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy MidPokeMaster here, and today we are finally back to content creation. We have taken over a team in UPA Season 2. We've taken basically a 2-month hiatus from uploading and playing, but here we are. We are back at it again with more Draft League content. So, if you're excited for that, make sure to like and subscribe and click that bell in the top right corner if you want a notification whenever I upload. And that's it. We are back. I was very burnt out on Mons. It was near the end of my senior year, so I was super busy with so much stuff, and I felt like it was best for my mental health to take a break from Mons. But we are back with UPA. We played in Season 1, and that was probably like our worst Wi-Fi league we've ever played in this gen, just like record-wise. GMAX sucks, but luckily GMAX is not allowed this season. Also, by the time I took over, it was week 6 out of 12 weeks, so we still have half the season to play. When I took over the team, it was, let me look, I think it was 4-1, so we actually got to take over a super good team. Our good pal John Jr. took over another team that dropped, and it's probably the worst team I've ever seen. Best mon is G-Darm. Like G-Darm, Blacephalon, Slower. Like the team's not that bad compared to what we got. It's just unreal. So unfortunately, we had to take over Ballhawk, somebody that, you know, this was their first Wi-Fi league, but you know they just got busy with life and stuff. So hopefully they can come back in a future season. But here we are. We took over probably one of the most busted teams I've ever seen. This is a points draft, and we were 3rd pick out of 20 coaches. And once you see this team, I don't understand how this was possible in 20-man draft, how this team was possible. Hope you enjoyed the graphics. This is a huge step up compared to Season 1. It doesn't look as great as it should be because I just stole the graphics they had already made, the draft slides that were already made, and just threw my logo over it, the dude I took over on OBS, and just added a gray box and had a Kentucky Torracats. So, still looks amazing. Like, it's just insane. But you can already see what our first pick for what we took over was. We were 3rd pick out of 20, like I said. First 2 picks. First pick was Dragapult. Totally understandable. Urshifu and Dragapult are both considered the most broken mon in the format, even though Urshifu is the one that gets banned more often nowadays. And then Zygarde was taken 2nd pick. I think Urshifu is 10 times better than Zygarde. But I got to take over a team with Urshifu, so I'm not complaining. So I've used Urshifu Single Strike once before, but that was Urshifu Single Strike G-Max back in GDL Season 2. It was right when Isle of Armor came out, and we used G-Maxes, so I actually, to feel the power of Choice Band Urshifu. So this one just doesn't have a switch-in. The only real switch-ins are Fairy types, which the person whose team I took over deals with fine. Like, and this one can even beat most Fairy types with a Choice Band Poison Jab or Iron Head. And I kind of agree with Kelly under the radar. He says people don't think Urshifu is as broken as it is because they try to run Choice Scarf on it, you know, trying to be a Preventure. But this one is your designated wall breaker every time. Have another one be your, you know, endgame sweeper or your, you know, cleaner or whatever. This one is here to click Choice Band, Close Combat, or Wicked Blow. And that's all that matters. It can U-turn out and, you know, it can chip down its, you know, I can't talk today. I haven't recorded in like 2 months, so I just can't talk. But this one can, you know, Choice Band U-turn and, you know, chip down my opponent's pivots into this mon. Because there's no real switch into this one, there's just pivots. So most of the time, you're forced to be, you really just want to run Bandit, because that just almost kills everything, or does at least over 50%. It's just unreal. So, there's really not much to say. It's a dark fighting type, which is 2 typings you love to have on a team. You always have to have a dark type. There's just no doubt about it, so you don't lose double key psychics. And this team doesn't lose double key psychics at all now, because Wicked Blow goes through iron defenses because it always crits. This one has a base 130 attack and 97 speed, so that is an amazing attack stat paired with a Choice Band and a Wicked Blow. Just no switching whatsoever. 97 speed is very good this gen. Obviously, you'd like faster, but if it was any faster, I think there was just no way it couldn't be bannable. But, you know, just base 130 attack with great HP and defense, 100 HP, 100 defense. It does only have 60 SPDF, But who cares? No, you're not going to be... You don't have to live any hits. You're going to be killing everything. So there's really not much to say about this mon in particular, because it just literally kills everything on this team. So it goes from 3rd to 20th and then 20th back to 3rd, and somehow this mon lasted. My dude I took over for got Celesteela round 2 in 20-man draft. This is the ultimate fairy killer to pair with Urshifu. I don't think there's like a single fairy type besides like Tapu Koko that can beat Celesteela. You know, like super easily. Like a lot of mons get Mystical Fire, but this is a Celesteela. It can chew so many of those super effective hits from non-stab mons. So this mon can just sit in front of so many teams, because especially in 20-man draft, not every team's going to get a super strong fire type or electric type. It just can't be broken. This mon can just come in, set up a Leech Seed, get that passive recovery while dealing damage with Heavy Slam, Air Slash, Flamethrower, Earthquake, Giga Drain. It can be offensive with Autonomized Weakness Policy, or Autonomized Power Herb with the Meteor Beam. I meant Autonomized Power Herb. I can't talk. Meteor Beam with Power Herb. But this mon can just sweep teams by itself. You just get a speed boost, outspeed a lot of your opponent's team if they're not Scarfed. And then once you get that boost, you just keep going and going, and it's just too hard to stop. Because Urshifu can chip down everything in the range of Celesteela. So Celesteela will sweep, or Celesteela can just come in on the fairy types. But my opponents will have to look at my team and realize they hate having to bring their fairy types against my team, because literally my rounds 2 through 4, so that's 3 mons, just deal with fairy types so well. But Celesteela is just such an unbreakable wall that it's just unreal. So this one just can't be broken. It can do so much, and it's like Mew in a way, like just with its versatility of being defensive, physically offensive, especially defensive, and just being able to, you can EV it to live so many different hits. And I just think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with Celesteela this season. I'm not usually a big Celesteela fan, but obviously I'm gonna keep it. There's no way I'm trading this one for anything else. So I did only make one transaction with the team, which you'll see later on. I'll just mention it when that mon comes up. But Celesteela just is the ultimate mon to pair with Urshifu, just because it can deal with those fairy types so well, while Urshifu just can't deal with them at all. If I think they're going to come in, I just can click U-turn and go into Celesteela. Next up, we have Sloking, the most broken mon in Draft League format and in OU. This mon is just super bulky. Let me pull up its stats. 95 HP, 80 defense, 110 special attack, and 101 speed F. I used regular Sloking for the first time ever in the latest UBL season, and I'm going to try Sloking. This mon is just something I've never used before, and it hasn't been out long enough for me to really want to use it. But on this team, I think it pairs super well with Celesteela Urshifu, giving me another way to pivot into fairies, and just offensively pressure them while defensively taking hits. This one usually can be run with an AV. It has Regenerator, so it comes in, takes a hit. I can teleport out if it's not AV. And this mon can just do so much damage. Its dual stabs are very hard to switch into outside of, Steel types can deal with it pretty well. But I have Urshifu Celesteela. Urshifu kills Steel types, and I don't think there's a single Steel type that can kill Celesteela outside of Magnezone. So I can throw off Future Sights and make my Urshifu come in and force them. They can't bring their Dark type in because they don't want to take a close combat. Most Dark types don't even appreciate a Wicked Blow. So this mon can just put on so much offensive pressure while having so much defensive pressure. It's just insane, just because it also gets, Sloking coverage. It gets Fire Blast, it gets Grass Knot, Scald, Shadow Ball. It doesn't get Toxic, I believe. I don't think it gets Toxic just because, it came out this gen. So unfortunately, but just this mon can just do so much offensive pressure with that base 110 special attack that's stronger than Victini and Mew. So even if I'm uninvested, it just does damage. Sludge Bomb plus Psychic Future Sight just does so much. It can even be set up Calm Mind. It gets a physical way of raising its defense. It gets Curse, so that could be super cool to run. It gets Iron Defense, so I think it might even get Stored Power. According to OU, it likes to run Razor Shell. I don't know what that's about, and I kind of don't want to know. It does get Sword Power. So my opponents don't have a Dark type, or I just don't respect it. I can be, you know, Combine Iron Defense, slack off Sword Power, and just clean. But this one just pairs so well with my first two picks being Urshifu, Celesteela. Like, this team's not making Urshifu work in any way possible. And I've already have two great mons of beating its one check being fairy types. So next up, I got Gengar. Another way of killing fairy types. I think it's a little redundant, but it just means I have 3 mons right now that don't care about T-Spikes, 2 Absorbers, and a Celesteela that doesn't get affected. So I don't have any removal and I don't have any hazards, but at least I don't have to worry about T-Spikes right now. So, but this mon just, it hits so hard. I paired my Urshifu G-Max and GDL with a Gengar, and it was just a perfect combination. Gengar was tier 1 that season. I think it was a little high, but you know what? It would fit my draft perfectly. If it was in tier 2, I couldn't have fit it, so who cares? But Gengar did get Nasty Spot this gen, but it's funny because you never see it ran. Because it never gets the chance to. It either just it comes in on a mon and like is too frail to take a hit, or it just wants to, you know, run Choice Specs or a Life Orb and just 2-hit KO everything already. So there's no reason for it to run a Nasty Plot. But Gengar is a base 110, Ghost and Poison, gives me, you know, a Rapid Spin immunity, gives me a normal type immunity, so my opponents can't run with like a Snorlax and be like Curse, Rest, Sleep Talk, Facade, or Body Slam, whatever. Gengar can just, you know, make it to where they can't run that. And it just pairs perfectly with Urshifu, as I said before. It's faster, it can kill those fairy types so well. Psychic types hate this team because Urshifu can just kill them. Gengar kills them. So Gengar's just a mon I'm super comfortable with. I'm so comfortable with Urshifu and Gengar together. So I'm just super excited to see, you know, if I can recreate that performance I had with them in GDL. So Gengar just hits so hard. I believe it has a base 130 special attack with a Gen 1 coverage move pool. It's just insane how much damage this mon can do. So hopefully it can put in as much work for us as it did in my GDL season. Next up in round 5, we got Blastoise. This mon I used to draft like every league Gen 7, and I haven't used it much this gen, which is weird considering it got Shell Smash. So, you know, now it can be an offensive pressure, you know, offensive mon too, instead of just being designated defensive. But it's a mon I am super comfortable with. It can only do a handful of stuff. You know, it can either be super offensive with Shell Smash, you know, be physical or special. You know, just be bulky with, you know, Rapid Spin, Scald, Body Press to hit Steel types now, and Toxic, you know, whatever. But I do love my classic Scald counter Mirror Coats with an AV. You know, my opponent has a super strong special offensive mon that I don't switch into. I just click Mirror Coat. You know, they hit me and I kill back, so I don't feel bad. So this is just a classic MidPokeMaster mon that I think fits super well with this team because we needed a hazard remover, because at this point we had no hazards and we had no removers, so my opponents could either spike stack us or I'm forced to run boots every week. So we luckily do have a Blastoise here now to where we don't have to worry about getting hazard stacked. But not really much else to say. This mon is just a super comfortable mon for me. Something I've used for years. And I even get Slip Turn now to get an initiative. And that was Blastoise's biggest problem, was that it was so easy just to hard wall with another water type or, you know, a bulky mon. You're forced to pick whether you want to click Scald or Toxic or just make a double. But now it can just Flip Turn out, get a little bit of chip damage off, and bring in Urshifu or Gengar or Celesteela. So I think this mon is going to be super well on this team. Next up, we got Talonflame. This is a big speed tier jump. We now have, I believe this is base 126. It's faster than Gengar. It gives us a Defogger, so another hazard remover. It's just super strong, gives us priority with Gale Wings if we're at full health. So this one can be physical or special. It runs special a lot now this gen because you're so used to running physical that opponents will prefer physical, but then they forget it gets Hurricane and Fire Blast and Overheat. So this one can, you know, to be super annoying. I used it in a PMU season when it's a Gen 6 Wi-Fi league. Last season was Gen 7, but it's normally Gen 6. And this one with just a choice band would come in and just click buttons. Click buttons. Just nothing can switch into this mon. Flying type is one of the most spammable types just because there's so few resist to it. You have steel types and you have rock types. Rock types, that's totally fair. We just turn out on. But steel types don't want to take a flare blitz. That's another thing that makes this mon so good. This one you can't switch into it. It just clicks buttons. It can be annoying with, Roost, Willow, Flare Blitz, like Flamethrower, Hurricane. But it can I know I just keep saying the same thing, but it's just so versatile in what it does. Like, it does the same few things, but like, it's just hard to prep for because you don't know if I'm going to bring, defensive with boots or, just a choice band. Because if I want to just be super offensive, I don't have to worry about keeping health on this thing. It's just going to come into wall break. So, I feel like this team is very good so far. It feels very, I was very hesitant on the other team before John Jr. took it over. Because originally I was going to take it over just because I feel like nobody would take over that god-awful team. But I feel like this team just fits my playstyle super well, and I can get wins with this. So next up, we got Klefki. It's our fairy type for this team, I believe. Not the greatest fairy type, but it's not even like dragon types do super well against me considering I have Celesteela. And I can just, if I don't let them set up, fine. But Klefki is a steel fairy type, another way of dealing with fairy types because, they just don't break Klefki. Gives me a spike stacker, gives me another defogger. I can run dual screens. So I can maybe be like a sub bulk up or a Shifu set. Make that a win con, with like Drain Punch, Wicked Blow, sub bulk up, and just set up all over monsters because it already has a high HP and defense stat. So I can set up like a Reflect or a Light Screen to where it couldn't break its sub. I just set up all over some of these more passive mons. And this Klefki, can be a win con with itself. I'm not going to spoil what set I'm bringing with it some week, but you'll see it soon. But Klefki, just Magnet Rise. One of my closest friends in the community, Grandmaster D-Ray, loved Klefki, and I believe it was BBR. It could have been GDL, but he loved it just for spamming T-Wave and having, the speed control, which is amazing with Urshifu. So, yeah. Klefki, there's not much to do. It's taunt fodder. So, it's very passive. It can be set up on, but nothing really wants to appreciate getting T-Wave or Toxic. But it's also super hard to break. I've used it once, but that was like 2 years ago. So I'm hoping I can give it a better shot this season. Next up, we have John Jr.'s favorite mon, Audino. You always have to have a bulky normal type, so ghost types can't just come in and spam choice specs Shadow Ball against you like a Gengar or Dragapult. Likely we have Gengar. But otherwise, Dragapult was very annoying for this team because we don't want our Urshifu taking lots of damage. Because opponents love to bring Rocky Helmet against Urshifu. Just because that's one of the best ways to ship it down into range of other mons. Because Urshifu's not a mon you can defensively check. You have to offensively check it to make sure it doesn't get out of control. So, they bring Rocky Helmet, to put it in range of those offensive mons. But Audino gives us a Wish Passer for the Celesteela, which is nice for the Blastoise, for the Klefki. Gives us a bulky normal, like I said. Can, spread Toxics around. Has Heal Bell. If, I bring my Urshifu in on, a Water type and it gets Scald Burned. I was trying to break it down. But I can Heal Bell off the burn. And like I said, Pass Wish isn't much. This is another super passive mon. But I feel like a lot of my other ones are just so offensive that it's fine that if I have a few passive, just because it's like if I bring one mon on a team that's kind of passive and I have 5 mons that aren't, it's fine. Because I can just go into those and click buttons and just not let it get the chance to be passive. Next up, we got our ground type and Mudsdale. It's just a ground type. Stealth Rock, you're forced to have a ground type so you don't auto lose to mons like Regieleki, which thrive off of you not having a ground type. We're not super electric weak, but actually we kind of are with Celesteela, Blastoise, Talonflame. So Mudsdale's kind of a forced mon here. But who doesn't like a good horse? This is UP8 for whatever. UP8, we love horses around here. O-Town Road. Gonna write to we can't get more. This mon will run the same set every week, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Toxic, Body Press. Or like Heavy Slam. or even Wrestling Talk, like it'll just run those same sets every week. So, Mudsdale is broken. Next up, Ronald Frost gives us an electric and ice type. You know, it's a nice choice card for, it's one of the few electric types that can hit ground types. So, I can get pretty free Volt Switches because they don't want to take a Blizzard. So, yeah, it's going to run Choice Scarf most of the time, or Choice Specs, or Nasty Plot, or, you know, just be annoying with like Defog. I used Rotom Fan for the first time in UBL and I loved it, and I've never used Rotom Frost before, so maybe it'll have like that one good matchup like Rotom Fan did against Josh, aka Ultra Player, and put in work. But I'm super excited to use this mod. I'm pretty sure this is the only Rotom form I've never used before now, so it's time to make a change. Next up, we have Eldegoss, but we did drop that for the week after. So week 6 we have to play with this team. Week 7 we'll get a Alolan Exeggutor. But Eldegoss is just the worst mon ever in Draft League format. It's just terrible. So I dropped it and picked up a Alolan Exeggutor just because they were both 3 points. I think that was 2 points too high for Eldegoss. But Alolan Exeggutor, you know, Trick Room, you know, can be physical, special, can even be bulky with like Harvest, Citrus Berry. And I was just say, my boy Sir Jorge the Great loves it, so I'll love it too. And final mon, Shuckle. You know, low tier, Sticky Webber, Stealth Rocker, Toxic, Knockoff, Encore. It's one of the few like low tier mons that you have to prep for. You kind of get forced to ring removal or taunt if you fight this. So I just feel like it just feels well, pairs well with the team. I could have made as many transactions as I wanted, but I only dropped Eldegoss for Alolan Exeggutor because it's 20 main Galar decks and not much left on the board. But I feel like this team was super my playstyle and I can, you know, it fits well with me. So thank you all for watching. Week 6 will go up tomorrow. I haven't had the time to record a draft analysis until literally the day before this goes. I'm recording this the day this goes live, and then week 6 goes up tomorrow. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.